The bells of the high palace rang at noon. They rang across the white cliffs and over the violet seas, rang through towers of silver glass and living crystal. They rang for a visitor. Queen Ereloth sat upon her throne of woven light. She had not stood from it in 20 years, not since the fire, not since the day her daughter was lost. The great doors of the palace opened. A single human walked into the royal court. He wore simple dark clothing, made for travel. No jewels, no armor, no fear in his eyes. At his side walked a young woman in a white cloak. Her steps were steady but slow. The court watched in silence. Humans were new among the stars, quick to rise, quick to fight, quick to endure. They were respected but not trusted. The human stopped at the base of the throne. He bowed his head. My name is Captain Daniel Reyes of Earthfleet, come to return what was lost. A murmur moved through the hall like wind. The queen looked down at him. Her face was calm, but her hands tightened against the arms of her throne. What do you claim to return? The young woman lifted her hands and drew back her hood. Silver hair fell across her shoulders. Her eyes shone like molten gold. The entire court froze. The queen stood. Gasps echoed against crystal walls. It cannot. Beatty young woman stepped forward. It is May. Am Lyriel's name struck like thunder. Princess Lyriel had died in the burning. Siege raiders from the outer reach had stormed the eastern wing of the palace. Fight had swallowed stone and crystal. The princess had been trapped within. Only ashes were found. Queen Ereloth descended from her throne. Each step slow, each breath unsteady. She stopped before the young woman. Say something only my daughter would know. Lyriel did not hesitate. You used to sing to me beneath the crystal trees when I feared the dark. You told me that stars are born from collapse. The queen's composure shattered. Her hand reached forward. She touched her daughter's face, warm skin, living breath. How the word barely formed. All eyes turned to the human. Captain Reyes stood straight. Years ago, our scouts intercepted a raider vessel near the border of our space. We were not allies then, we were not friends, but we do not ignore distress signals. We boarded the ship. Most prisoners were gone. In a sealed chamber we found a child. She was injured, starved, barely a little. Lyriel closed her eyes for a moment. I remember darkness. Sigh. Remember strange voices. I remember someone telling me to Stereus. Nodded. Our medics worked without rest. Your biology is not like ours. We lost 3 doctors before we understood how to stabilize her. We built new systems. We rewrote our medical codes. We refused to let her die. The court listened in silence. Queen Ereloth held her daughter's hands. Why was she not returned at once? She was not strong enough to travel. Reyes answered without hesitation. Her memory was fractured. She did not know her name. We could not risk moving her through unstable space lanes. And we were at war. Earth itself was under attack. We were losing colonies, but we never stopped searching for where she belonged. 5 years ago, we confirmed her identity. We prepared to return her. She chose to wait. The queen looked at Lyriel. Would you wait because I was not ready? Lyriel stepped forward. Her voice carried clear and steady. I awoke on a world of gravity and storms. A world louder than any I had known. They did not treat me as fragile. They taught me their science, their language, their stubborn hope. They expected me to stand. So I learned to stand. The queen searched her daughter's face. Have changed easily. Lyriel. I am still your daughter, but I am also shaped by Earth. Humans fall and rise again. They rebuild. Even when everything burns, they hold on to each other with fierce loyalty. Needed to become strong before I returned. Not a memory, not a symbol of tragedy, but a bridge. Counselor stepped forward from the gathered nobles. This could be deception. Humans are skilled in genetic craft. The accusation hung heavy. Reyes did not move test. Malariel raised her chin. Queen Aralath lifted her hand. A thread of living light flowed from her palm and wrapped around Lyriel's wrist. The light pulsed, it flared bright as the sun. The bond of blood sang through the chamber. No illusion could forge that harmony, no clone could echo that truth. Queen pulled her daughter into her arms. For a long moment there was only silence, then the court erupted in cries of relief and wonder. After the embrace, the queen turned to the human. What do you seek in return? The word was simple. We did not save her for reward. We did not raise her for leverage. We did it because it was right. She became family to us. Returning her does not end that bond, it expands. It Lyriel stepped beside him. I have to homes, I will not choose between them. The queen studied them both. Who would divide your loyalty? Ilariel shook her head. I would united humans and Iliara have both suffered, both fought, both endured loss. We can stand stronger together. The court fell into thoughtful silence. Queen Araloth lifted her hand. Prepare. The hall of renewal. The princess returns to her people. She faced Captain Reyes. You will remain as honored guest, not as envoy, as friend. Reyes bowed his head once more. I accept. The days that followed transformed the palace. Ceremonies filled the crystal hall. Songs of mourning turned to songs of return. Lyriel walked among her people. She listened to their stories. She shared her own. She spoke of human cities rebuilt after bombardment, of oceans crossed by vessels of steel, of doctors who refused to surrender. A dying child. Human engineers arrived to exchange knowledge. Illyrian scholars prepared journeys to Earth trade. Routes reopened, joint fleets trained in distant space. Trust grew slowly, but it grew one. The final evening of the renewal rites. Lyriel stood upon a balcony overlooking the violets. Captain Reyes stood beside her. Below them lanterns of living light floated into the sky. Are you afraid? He asked quietly. She considered the horizon. No, I was afraid once in fire and smoke, in a dark chamber far from home, but humans taught me something. He waited. Survival is not enough. He must choose to live. Race gave a small naidu, have chosen well. Below in the courtyard, Queen Araloth watched her daughter. The child she had lost was gone. In her place stood a leader, shaped by two worlds, stronger than before, forged by trial. The queen understood. Then the universe had tested her child, had nearly broken her, yet humans had guarded that fragile spark of life, not for power, not for glory, but because they could not abandon its young among the stars, reckless at times, loud and stubborn, yet unbreakable in their refusal to surrender a single life. Queen Aralath lifted her gaze to the stars. Perhaps the future would not belong to the oldest empires. Perhaps it would belong to those who rebuilt from ashes, those who crossed war and distance to return what was never theirs to keep. Lyriel turned from the balcony and looked back toward the throne room. Tomorrow she would take her place beside her mother, not as a symbol of loss, but as proof of endurance. Beside her stood a human who had crossed half the galaxy to bring her home, not as conqueror, not as supplicant, but as guardian. The bells of the high palace rang again, this time not for mourning, not for warning, but for renewal. Across the stars a new chapter began, written not in fire, but in courage.